It all started like this. I heard the term 80/20 rule or 80/20 principle on some kind of podcast or TED talk or something like that. And right away, I had already heard that term in passing or in some videos so this is about 10 years ago. I had just heard this little theory. So obviously it piqued my interest and I just took to the internet and immediately it started to blow my mind. I couldn't grasp how this principle, this theory about life had escaped my consciousness as I'd been exploring all kinds of weird, esoteric, and mainstream principles for success and, religions, and just I've been an explorer of consciousness, let's just say. So what happened was it just started to blow my mind in all these little ways. So go learn about the Pareto principle. I've got lots of videos on it and stuff like that. One of the first big epiphanies was when I looked at this graph, this sweeping line, and I asked myself, I saw that graph again, and at first I thought about that disparity of the top 1% owning 50% of everything. How disgusting and terrible that was. How ridiculous. Then my mind shifted and I thought, well, what does it take to get to the top if you were to climb? Let's say a certain amount of people are at the top because of luck, a certain amount because of maybe nefarious means, and a certain amount because they apply it or because of some legitimate reason. And I started to see, and all of a sudden I saw that graph as not a line charting disparity and difference in our world, but I saw it as a path to success. Something that showed what the trajectory is, what the actual path is to success. That started to unlock a series of epiphanies that maybe aren't brand new, but maybe they are. And certainly the way that they're stacked and the way that they're understood, I explored the 80/20 rule for years after that, getting many books on the subject, finding any little podcasts or snippets that talked about it that I could. And I recognized that I had found a number of insights that people weren't talking about. And also I saw this in a way that I feel like always was needed. But I also saw this in a way that I feel like nobody else saw, and applied this in a way that nobody else applied. So I lived my life using this and integrating this with my philosophy, including with religion and spirituality. It became this uniting understand, and that's what it became, this uniting understanding. And that's why I call it the first principle of progress. To know that there is a curve of the universe. And that curve is many things. But one of the most fundamental things to understand is that any positive, good, creative thing, whether it's getting a glass of water and bringing it into your body, or whether it's building a rocket ship, is a process of steady growth, stacking skills on ideas, on figuring it out, on day by day, minute by minute, iteration by iteration. And it takes a certain amount of energy, consistency, and traction. Good ideas implemented well over time, iterated again and again. And then you go from a child who plays in the sandbox to a surgeon who saves thousands of lives. There are a lot of different truths to extract from this, but the first basic understanding, the first principles of progress that I like to talk about are that skills, abilities, health, wealth, wellness, wisdom, it all is a result of stacking. It all is a result, even relaxing, letting go, being more peaceful, meditating is a process of building. It's a process of becoming. Even allowing is a process of becoming. It takes focused effort. The thing is, it doesn't have to be robotic. It's not best if it's robotic. It's best when it's organic. It's best when it's you stepping into your best self in your best way, which is why I'm doing this right here and where my mission is. I spent years researching, writing, creating based on this philosophy, building a philosophy and a map of life, which helped me. I listened to it, I read it, and it helped me become better, become more, do more, be more, have more, get more out of life. I've gone from frustrated to fulfilled. I've gone from rocky relationships to many steady ones. So many things have happened. And of course, it's a rocky road. Nothing's perfect, but you gain stability within and you transmit it without. So I've developed this entire philosophy, this culture, this understanding, this map of the universe, this manual within this book. And the creation of the book was a process of becoming, was a process of creating, was of first from within and then without. I would practice within and without. I would listen, I would utilize these principles, practice these principles, and train myself, right? Train myself to be more of the person that I want to be. Put myself into the position of doing, becoming, learning, growing to. So what I wanted was financial stability and solid relationships and lots of friendship and total freedom and, and freedom and thriving children and thriving families, communities, cooperation, as well as travel, nature, health, plenty of wealth with investments and multiple streams of income. These are all goals that I have set throughout my life and continue to set. And that's another key principle of the curve. It's building and maintaining what you have so that you can build on top of that. The problem is most people don't build happiness. They don't build sanity. They don't build financial stability. They don't build their careers. They don't build their social network. They don't build their skills and abilities. They don't build their hobbies. Because building is a process of getting a little better. And yes, it's built within. It's also built without. You do these projects that help you build yourself, whether that's going to the gym, joining a group, working on your garden. You'll do these things that bring you to that place, whether it's submitting to going to school, going to certain events. Those help shape you for who you become. But the deeper truth is that building and maintaining and actually stacking skills so that you're stacking more. And that bigger idea, you're stacking it within here and you stack it outside. So you take on the job, you build the garden so that you have to go work the garden every day. You build the business so you go to that business again and again and it builds you. You start on that project and then that project works its magic with you. As you work it, it works you and you can, and that helps you maintain, that helps you grow. It helps make sure that you have a solid basis to go on. This is the point. Life has all these different dimensions. No matter what you like or what you love, you're going to change that throughout your life. It's a spectrum of interests, and they're very similar to each other. Sometimes we want to dwell in, sometimes out. Sometimes we just want to sit back and be entertained, and other times we want to really engage. But we fine-tune that, we change that, we express that. And the point is that each of those directions and dimensions and aspects of life can be nurtured so that you can get more out of it, get those things, achieve those things easier, and have a more perfect life. That's actually what this is about. It is about more perfection. When your ancestors didn't have language to even speak to each other and all they had was grunts, I guarantee you that wasn't as beautiful and poetic and amazing to not be able to communicate anything, to not be able to communicate anything. Now we can communicate everything, and we over-communicate, and I probably am right now. But the point is the beauty in the nuance, in the we can have this kind of conversation because you've probably had enough to eat today, because you're probably taken care of enough to be able to digest these words and these understandings that are so far from survival. We all begin in survival, and we try to get to the most thriving and fulfilled that we can for ourselves and for others. It is a universal thing in life, especially in human life, because we're not stuck in the grind of nature. So that's where I have found this philosophy, this theory based on this one simple idea, is that things mature and grow. They start slow, and only when they grow and they stack and they get better and they add to and maintain what they had before can they launch off into thriving. Everything starts helpless, with no energy or direction or understanding. And with proper nurturing and then proper leadership and direction, they can and will hit a curve.